Joseph?
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Hey, what's up?
My co-host, Jason Eaton. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, pretty good. I just realized I should have changed my name to not Gabe because I'm seeing like in the chat, all these people are like, "Happy birthday, Gabe," and I'm like, "I'm not Gabe. Sorry, everybody."
Oh, no problem, man. It's really cool to have you as my co-host today and tonight, and I'm looking forward to chatting. So a big hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us on a Saturday. Juan Solo, Star Wars Espanol. What's up, Alex? And Mr. Michael Planty's in the house. Awesome, Michael. Armando, Joel, good to see you, Joel. Chris, Steven, Jose, Ken, good to have you guys joining us. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few of us hanging out this evening. But first of all, how you been? You been doing all right, Jason?
Yeah. Hold on, I've never done this from the hot seat before. Like, when so I just want to make sure I can see everybody talking because I had to move my camera so I'm not like, "Hello," like the whole. No, I'm great. You're working on the models.
Yeah, quite a few models actually, huh?
Yeah, kind of obscene, a little ridiculous. I feel like I was just talking. I had my friend John Sabian came over today for lunch, and he's working on that 6-foot blockade runner, and he's like, "I'm not going to be able to finish it in time, so I feel really bad that I'm not bringing it." And I'm like, "I'm gonna fill the car, dude. I feel really weird, like that. It's just like 9 models or whatever the number turns out to be, because I've got this insane backlog since like June of 2019. Ooh, yeah, so that's kind of fun.
A lot of stuff going on. So because we've got Wonderfest coming up in June, right?
Yeah,
it's like the beginning of June, isn't it? Wonderfest.
It is. Horrifically, it's the weekend after Celebration.
Yeah, so, trust me. Yeah,
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of bleary-eyed.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get that all ironed out. I know Joseph's already got his tickets and stuff, so I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I've never been to Comic-Con. I've never been to a Celebration. I was going to go this year, but it's so close to Wonderfest. I'm like, I can't. I'll do the next one, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess Florida, don't they switch off? I guess.
Yeah, they do. I think what they do is they'll skip. They'll do like Anaheim, and then they'll flip it. But you never know. I mean, we did one in Chicago, but I think what they do is they skip a year, and that following year they're in like Europe or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I think I remember seeing a Celebration Europe somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, but definitely far. But so you got to. So let me ask you, Jason, because I know every once in a while I'm fortunate enough to see some little sneak peeks of some of the models that you're working on, and you're going to display at like Wonderfest. So are you commissioning right now models?
I don't take commissions. Only because, I guess it's now well known my hands are turned into goo, whatever. Yeah. So when I take a commission in the past, now I'm beholden to this person, and I'll say a timeline, and I've always padded it knowing that I'm going to need a new roof, and it's going to take a couple weekends out of my schedule. Life happens.
Yes,
for sure. I've been very careful about that because I've seen. I mean, it's like it's the tale as old as time that somebody's like, "We'll get it to you in a month," and then it's like a year and a half later, and then now there's bad blood and everybody hates everybody. So I've always tried to avoid that. And I've seen, sometimes stuff doesn't get delivered and then it's even worse. But now I feel very fortunate that I'm in this position where I can just make whatever I want, whenever I want. And when it's done, usually somebody usually comes calling while I'm making it. Like, can I buy that? And I'm like, well, let me finish. let me figure out what it's going to look like. You might not want it when I'm done with it. But yeah, like, so it just, when the whim strikes for something, I mean, I've got like mental plans of things I want to make, over the next 30 years or whatever.
Yeah.
There's things I can't sadly talk about right now because it's not like NDA, it's just personal like property of people that worked on the original trilogy, and I just respect their privacy. But it will benefit all of us at some point. Like kind of like what we did with the X-Wing, where I got actual real castings of the hero shell, which blew it open. Like I was like, we're done. Like we never like I sat back like stunned. Like I was like, I've literally been making studio scale X-Wings for almost 20 years now, right? Yeah. And I started with Captain Cardboard, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, but in my head, I'm always like trying to improve it, make and it's incremental progress. And you're looking at photographs, and photographs have distortion, and they just never tell the truth. But I always wanted that hero one. I was chasing the lunchbox that I had in kindergarten, which was that Red 2 composite with the TIE fighter. It's just like, shit, that's so awesome. And
you're sick, Jason. You know that, right?
Oh, completely. Yeah, it's an obsession. I totally get that. It keeps me off the streets, though. So, like, to be able to like know that we got as close as anyone's ever going to get, like, also knowing that they were all one-off handmade, so you kind of, it's a moving target. You just kind of pick the one that you hope you can, get to, and it's like appreciably fatter. It's like a good 1.5 inches longer than the V5 was. It's shocking, but when you look at photos, you just don't see any of that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's just because you've got kit parts in the back, but like from the cockpit forward, it's all hand patterned, so there's no point of reference in space to measure.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was really, really bizarre.
So do you have like the I guess the whole, or what would you call it? What's the main piece?
Yeah, I have. So I mean, I could talk about just the X-Wing for like the next 3 hours.
Yeah. What I was going to say though, do you have like a Captain Cardboard, the Salzo version, and then like what, like they
I don't have like anymore, and I got rid of all of those over the years. I was holding on to, Frank Cerny had done a really beautiful casting of a Pyro. It was like maybe second gen. It was pretty it could have been third, but I think it might have been second. So it's sort of on par with what Eaton's used to make theirs. Gorgeous. But once I had this data, and I have a Pyro casting too, like from production from 76, and you can see how much Frank's shrank, only because it's been over the years, molded and cast, and resin shrinks and shrinks and shrinks every time that's done.
Right.
Like, so not knocking anybody, it's just the nature of the beast. But like once you have that, you're like, I can let the thing go, get, flip that money into making this new one. So I always take the money and buy a new tool or fund the next harebrained project. So I didn't make a kit of it because the team that worked on it worked tirelessly, and like somebody came to me and they're like, can I buy the files? And I was like, yeah, actually, we talked about this, the guys that helped, but we would need like, I don't know, 20 grand. And that's not even, none of it goes to me. I'm just paying them for their time that they donated for free. Like, I never wrote back because that is crazy. But it was all done with for love, and I've got a couple, sets of parts, and I can grow pieces. And so I just plan to make the whole flying circus of X-Wings over the next, 20 years or whatever. I'm making 5 right now.
What is these XILMers that I know that you're in touch with think about everything that you're doing when it comes to make these things? It's so funny how they whip these together, and you guys are like,
yeah. So it is really funny because like you meet them, you talk to them, they're all almost always to a fault like the nicest people in the world, and they're so like excited to talk about this stuff. And some of them it was just like a job. But for some of them, like they're passionate about like the craft. So like talking to a couple of them, they're like, number one, you guys are certifiably insane to like identify the donor parts, like, and go buy these antique kits for exorbitant amounts of money and then use them and make these replicas. They're like, we never did that. We just grabbed stuff that looked cool and put it down.
Yeah.
Like, so they find that like, I think some of them may find it amusing, but mostly they're like, that's a next level, like, like weird, crazy, amazing. But that being said, anybody doing this stuff, they really seem to love it, because we're sort of keeping the craft alive,
right?
And doing what I'm doing. Like I come at it now trying to preserve the original design as much as possible, and then because it's being held up to close scrutiny and not just zipping by on screen, I add sometimes extra levels of detail or whatever, so that somebody can look at it up close. Like my big thing is always making like a little hidden something inside. I mean, that sandcrawler is a perfect example. Every time there's a hole, you look in there and there's like a whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that I can remember as a kid, there was this like weird gaudy Christmas ornament that had a hole in it, and you looked inside and there was like a rabbit eating a carrot, like a Fabergé egg for like like the middle class. And I was obsessed with that thing, and so I think I'm sort of influenced by that still. Like I want to be rewarded if I look, down the corridor or something.
And see the little teddy bear.
Yeah, putting the teddy bear in there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because that was really cool. Because the last time I had you on the show, we already had things in the works on the Sandcrawler, but I didn't have it yet in my collection, and we were waiting on Mike to finish the Star Destroyer, and holy shit, man, he killed it, didn't he?
Yeah, it is bonkers amazing.
Yeah, I was really happy, and then to get there, and I was so spoiled because I'm picking up an 8-foot Star Destroyer, and I know this is absolutely one of my favorite pieces in my whole collection. I
miss it. I'm glad it has a loving home.
It
I mean, like, I have limited space, so I'm okay with things going away sometimes. I'll hold on to something for a little bit. But I love that main hangar bay thing right by the claw.
That's my favorite little.
Like the one child was yelling at the other one, and he's going like, "Dude, what?"
Yeah, I should have turned it on. I didn't even think to do that. But yeah, it's badass, man. I mean, this is in the center of my main living room.
That's so amazing. I'm so like when you showed me like the case you were making for it, I was like, oh man, I hope he really likes the model.
Yeah, no, come on. Crazy. Hey, so speaking of this is really cool. So on one of our, it's either our next episode or the one following. We got a gentleman. His name's Tim. Great story, Jason. So he's 50 years old now. Mm-hmm. When George Lucas and them wrapped in Tunisia, shooting there, and they came back to the States, they were needing to do some pickup shots on the Jawas. So this guy Tim was 5 years old at the time, and he was there's a few of them.
I think I've seen him on Facebook. Is he like smiling, like he's got like this real shit-eating grin in his profile?
I don't. I'm not real sure. I talked to him.
It's like some little kid wearing a clearly it's from production.
Yes, that's him. Yes, that's him.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Listen.
That's so great.
No, but he was super cool. We talked yesterday afternoon, and he's excited to be on the show, but most importantly, to be able to talk to him about, what it was like, how they came to his elementary school. And, they had to have the continuity, right on their sizes of the Jawas and stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're going to ask him these questions, but I knew he was asked this all the time. Like, did you get to keep the costume? He's like, no, he goes, I was 5 years old. I wasn't, but he'll tell the story, but he's like, we didn't know what Star Wars was back then, but
I heard a story one time of somebody who was very savvy. This was again like 20 years ago, like what early days of like the explosion of the RPF, where we were all connecting, and we were at a party, like a prop. We used to have prop parties, and sitting there chatting, and he's like, I went out to California and I had the crew list, like the call sheet or whatever, and he said I would just cold call people in the phone book, and every once in a while I'd get the person. And this guy was like an electrician or like a carpenter or something. And he was pressed into service as a stormtrooper in the Redwood Forest, right? And he said, after filming, I like snuck my armor and hid it behind some ferns. And like, he's like, when everybody left, I went back and got it. He said, and it sat in my closet for years. And then like my kids like played with it and shit got trashed and thrown away. But he ended up saving the helmet. So one of those screen used Jedi helmets is because this guy had the stones to like, spirit it away. Because I think most of that stuff was thrown away. At some point.
It's crazy how much stuff did get chunked, And when we had Gus Lopez on, we were hearing some of these crazy cool stories, and he was
these stories, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to say the pioneer, but I mean, look, in the 90s when Star Wars was coming back and all the new, Kenner over to Hasbro, and they were realizing that, hey, we can start all over again and make it big. He was back then going and hitting up the old, Kenner employees and loading up on all these badass.
Yeah, Gus is totally a pioneer with that stuff.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
He
had the vision.
It kills me.
Yeah, he had the vision back when nobody cared about Star Wars.
That's exactly right. And I was there, but I was too busy, trespassing at Skywalker Ranch and doing other stupid shit that didn't pay off at all.
I just didn't think that, it was possible to do what we've done, and it's because of the internet. The shared information, the shared resources.
Yeah,
sharing people, don't hoard your info. Unless you can't share it, but whatever. I think the most gets done for good when people collaborate and help each other.
Yeah.
So that's my soapbox moment for the evening.
Yeah. That's great. So that's what it is. Hey man, so I can see on your right, I'm a big Jaws guy, and so the barrel, that thing's badass.
Yeah, the orca behind my head.
Yeah, I want that. Actually, I want the tile back there, and holy shit, the indoor piece.
Yeah,
I'm not wearing any pants, or I'd ask you to go actually pick that up.
We've established that I'm wearing pajama pants because it is my bedtime. It is now. Oh, I took my watch off already. It's now 17 minutes past when I normally go to bed because I wake up at 5 like a crazy person. Yeah. My body's gonna get me up at 5 like a jackass tomorrow. It's just gonna be like, no, it's time. And my cat's used to that now, so he'll be like, dude, I'm starving. It's been 2 hours since I ate.
That's probably one of the most spoiled cats in the world, man. I see him more than I see you on Instagram.
He's a brand now.
Yeah.
God, I wish. I wouldn't whore my pet out like that, but I don't know. I saw somebody had posted a meme of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker standing there, dejected, looking in the mirror. And it said, me getting ready for work when I know somebody out there is selling their farts in a jar for $50,000 a week. And I was like, yeah, they're people can make a living doing crazy shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't want to I don't want to get into that where I'm screaming to get new subscribers and stuff. I mean, if it happens organically, great, but I don't have time for that.
I'm the 1,000% the same. I pop on every once in a while. It's cool getting the subs, and I just hit 3,000 subs on my.
But you get it. You get it just because your content's good. I mean,
thank you for that. Thank you. And that's what I care about. Thanks for saying that, Jason. That's important to me. I don't want to just throw out, just go live to be live, But yeah, thanks for saying that, because I do care about the content that I throw through my channel.
Well, you gave me less than 24 hours notice. But you're like, hey, do you want to be on the show tomorrow night? I'm like, oh God, you start at 10, right? Fine. And then I was like, I get really worried about value for your dollar, even though this costs nobody's spending money on it. But I'm like, people's time is worthwhile. I want them to be able to, I watched Jason for an hour. Now I feel like I want that time back, and I'll see you in court, that kind of thing. Yeah. But so I threw a little mini slideshow together of stuff that I'm working on now or was working on. So I don't know.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. And you know what? Talking about the viewers, that's what's so awesome. When me and Gabe first, by the way, very happy birthday to Gabe.
Happy birthday, Gabe. 41.
Yeah, he's at a disco or something doing some.
I think he said he's going to a punk show.
Yeah.
I love this band called Screaming Females. If anybody ever liked the Smashing Pumpkins, check them out. It's a female-fronted band, and she shreds on guitar in a mind-blowing way. She is just a virtuoso. And they came to town in 2016, and they're not huge, so they came to a smaller club in Baltimore, and I just got there half hour early, and they were hanging out front. And so I chatted with them for a while. Super nice people. But I don't go to shows anymore because, again, I go to bed so early. But I was like, I'm going to break my rule because I need to see a band. And I've been to a million hardcore punk rock shows in my time. We used to go. I lived in Annapolis, Maryland. We used to go to DC and see Fugazi. I saw Minor Threat one time. You know, like
You and Gabe have the same taste in music.
I saw some cool shit. And never in a, you know, like I did go see bands in stadiums, but usually like a rec hall or like a smaller venue. So I know the deal. And I'm like literally like 20 years older than anyone in the front. And I want to be in the front because I, you know, like if I'm going to be here, I want to see the band. And there were 2 opening bands and they were fine. But it's just like, it's 11:30 and they haven't even come on stage yet. And I'm like, I'm going to be here till 1. And I, you know, was brave little toaster and I made it. But there was this, it's such a tangent. There was like this young woman who was maybe 15 or 16, like 80 pounds soaking wet. She was wearing a Mr. Bubble t-shirt. And I was like, oh, that's ironic. And she was trying to get in front of me like aggressively. And I just stood there and I'm like, I outweigh you by like 100 times, you know. And I realized I like really laughed to myself because I adopted that punk rock show stance where you kind of like you stagger your weight and you don't throw your arm out, but you have your elbow out further than the rest of your body. So if somebody tries to muscle, they're just going to slam into your elbow repeatedly. And then they get the hint and they, you know, go somewhere else. And I was just like, honey, no, like I'm here. Like I'm old. I'm not, if I go back, I'm just going to leave because I'm like, I'll just drive home. So that was like, I applaud him at 41 for going to see a punk show. That's the point of this story. Like,
hey, yeah. So one of the viewers, Armando, was mentioning that that's not actually a barrel. It was made out of something else. Is that true? The barrel of the Jaws?
Yeah, it's a replica. Yeah. It's not.
No, but I mean that they used in the film.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a guy who purchased a production Born Free barrel from Jaws, black. It wasn't one of the yellow painted ones, and he had it molded and cast in polypropylene. And his concession was that little blue cap is not separate. It's part of the mold, so you can tell a replica from a real one. And I think he might have only made it. He didn't make that many, and I just lucked out and got in. And it wasn't cheap, but I was like, I need it. Oh God, like, yeah. So I got, and he even finished it for me, like painted it and did the little metal band and the right knotting and all that stuff. Because I was like, I'm never getting around to that. It would still be black under my house in storage.
I don't know. It's really funny what me and you have in common. I think a lot of people are the older generation of people, of course, because it's a nostalgia movie. But I love Jaws. You know, the original one. You know, show me the way to go home. Tired and I want to go to bed.
I won the lottery with my wife. Like, she like loves that I do all the stuff I do. She's not like super into Star Wars or anything, but she appreciates the craft. But I gotta say, anytime she's not seen a movie that's like in my heart and I've shown it to her, she's connected with it, which I'm like, whoo. Like, I showed her like Jaws, and it's over the years, it's become a thing where we will now watch Jaws on the 4th of July. It's like our little thing. And we will watch The Thing the first time it snows. And so
Kurt Russell, The Thing?
Yeah, John Carpenter's. And then I showed her The Fog, and she was like, I don't ever need to see that again. But we'll rewatch The Thing each year. And okay, so here the only disappointment ever has been I showed her Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She got about 10 minutes in and like turned to me with this weird look on her face, and she was like, you have to turn this off. I cannot handle this man. And I was like, oh, okay,
that's like Spaceballs to me.
We have a dud. Yeah, I'm not really into Spaceballs that much. I've seen it.
You and me, I hate it. Yeah.
I will rewatch, and this is personally, she doesn't particularly care for the Mel Brooks films as much, but I will watch High Anxiety and Young Frankenstein at least every other month all year. Like, it's usually just on in the background, but those movies,
comfort films. That's
cool.
Cool.
And so is Big Trouble in Little China. And I love that. That was what I was most nervous about. I showed that to her, like, oh crap. And she loves it because it's weird, and it's like, you know, if she doesn't like it, that's fine. Yeah. But I really got excited that she appreciated it. She's like, no, this is a fun movie. I was like,
that was one of those movies I would watch, and then the more I'd watch it, the more I'd like it, especially as I got older. I love that. Yeah,
I probably didn't dig it nearly as much. Kind of like the first time I saw Blade Runner, I was like, this is a little boring because I was expecting Han Solo adventure, Indiana Jones. Yeah. You know, like that was my predisposition or you know, whatever.
Yeah, this is him on Vicodin and Blade Runner. But I'll tell you what, Yeah, so I had mentioned to you in the past, and the viewers know, we're going to be opening up a pizza shop here. It's going to be called
That's nuts.
Dark
Love it.
Side Brick Oven Pizza Company, and we're working on the props, and I'm working on permitting and all kinds of crap right now. But things are moving forward. We're working on the design, but we're working on different themes. I don't want, even though Star Wars is, what I'm known for, but I want to have Jaws. And I'm talking to the gentleman that's working on the life-size Wampa about maybe creating the head, like,
Oh, cool.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
little stuff like that barrel, I just
Yeah.
ordered a really nice replica Warriors jacket, from the
Nice.
Warriors.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I've got some really cool black and white 8x10s that I'm going to put in, one of those box frames, that you pick up, so I want people to come in and see all type of different things,
The Warriors, funny you mentioned that. That is a movie that my mom and dad would sometimes quote to each other. Like,
really?
Yeah, I don't know why, just a couple lines, but like I know it's from the Warriors because I'd never seen it. And then I saw it and I'm like, this is what they're like. And then I asked my mom, she's like, oh yeah, we saw it in the theater and we just really like loved it or whatever. And I'm like,
It's like, what characters were there?
I don't know. Like my like if we were like late getting to the car, my dad would yell Warriors come out and play, yay, like kind of stuff.
Yeah, come out to play. I hate when they're like ching ching. Hey,
Yeah,
Michael Planey.
He would do that stuff, loving father things.
That's right. Yeah, that's funny. Mr. Michael Planey. So we're going to be opening up in Bernie, Texas. It's outskirts of San Antonio. Cool. It's a small country town, real charming town. And a lot of Californians are moving there, Michael. I'm surprised you don't know about it. So, but anyways, yeah, that's where we're going to open it. Thanks for asking. So
that's cool. A good pizza place. I know you when you went and visited Mike. He took you to Pepe's, probably.
He did, man.
Holy crap! I still like. Sometimes I'll like just be minding my business, going about my day, and I'm like Pepe's.
Yeah.
God, like it's so good.
Yes.
Like that first trip I took to Connecticut to New Haven and North Haven to see Mike. We had Pepe's, which blew my mind and spoiled me for pizza. And then we went to a place called Rudy's, where I had the best French fries I've ever had in my life, which is a weird thing to connect to. But just so often you get fries without even like it just comes with the burger or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're okay. They're cold or they're like soggy or whatever. Yeah. These were like,
bam,
pillows on the inside and like hard. I just remember like marveling.
Oh man,
these are twice fried at least. Like, and nobody bothers to do that. So I was like, Rudy's, mwah, like.
I think Jason and I need to eventually come out with our own food podcast because man, when me and you get together and start talking food, holy crap, man, it's fun.
What kind of bourbon are you drinking? And what?
Yeah, we are. Hey, look,
what's your favorite cut of beef right now?
Yeah, that's funny. That's sad. That's funny. The pillow. Hey, so do you go to Peeps every time now that you go meet up with Mike when you're in that area? Is that like a thing to go do?
Yeah. Another friend of mine said that we need to try. I guess it's modern. A Pete's. I think there's a couple different.
Yeah, they're more into New York area.
Okay.
Yeah, the people at that place because I was asking because I was curious if they have like franchise.
Yeah. I have love in my heart for even. Pizza, so I know any of the places up there are going to be like amazing, and I should probably contrast and compare. Yes,
yeah. So what they do? Hey, Joseph, good to see you on the show. So, so we have those guys over at Peeps. They use coal. They cook with coal.
Yeah.
So these ovens that rotisserie oven that we're using, it is a brick oven pizza, but we're going to cook with wood. There'll be wood in there. So it just kind of gives it a good little smoke taste, but
yeah,
it's really, really wonderful, the flavor of the food. So I'm excited. It's one thing to build this place and open it, but to have really good food is just, and I can't wait till, we get this thing finally open. So
yeah, I bought a thing for my Weber kettle. Like when the world was shut down in 2020 hardcore, I was like craving pizza. Yeah. And the delivery pizza that you get here in Baltimore is like, it's pizza, I guess, but so, and it's basically just a thing that extends the like your standard size Weber kettle higher. It's like a ring, and it has the stone in it, and I got a metal plate to like heat dome the top, and I used wood. I got seasoned wood. It got up to like 800, 900 degrees, like it was just scorching hot.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
Yeah, and it took me a while to figure out how to get it off the peel, successfully or whatever. But when I did, I could cook that thing in like under a minute, and it was, it had that spotting on the bottom, it had that char, that smoke.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work for like, okay, we're done, and then it just sits there unused. Like I should, I don't fire it up all that much because it's so much effort for like, not a lot of cooking time.
It's crazy that a pizza can cook that fast with raw dough and the cheese and all that in 2 minutes.
Crunchy, but it's still pliable. Yeah.
That's why I love and Joseph came up with that name, Dark Side. And I think that's it's one thing if you're driving down the road, not everyone's going to think Star Wars, you know what I mean? But it's just kind of funny, how it worked out that way.
Yeah. That is an excellent name. Yeah.
So let's hop into some of the picks. Can we do that?
Oh yeah. All right. Let me share. Yeah. See if I can do this. I was given the power. I was given.
Hey, Marcel, good to see you, man. You know me, I'm always talking pizza stuff. Hey, since we have Marcel on, I just want to say we will be having him on soon because Marcel's going to be dropping a new print, which is exciting, and then we're going to be discussing the Collection Wars Ralph Macquarie Vader print as well. So yeah, Marcel, I look forward to letting people know when that's going to drop. Okay, man. So we'll be talking soon. Thanks for that. All right, what do you got here, Jason?
I think I can share this full screen. Actually, hang on. Where's my mouse is over there. 2 monitors. Yay! Look at that.
Hey, Robin, how you doing, Robin? Good to see you.
Okay, so my nephew. Okay, I've been doing these YouTube videos where I've been talking to the old guard at the RPF about the old days, and it's gotten me nostalgic for like building lightsabers out of the incorrect parts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my nephew, I took him to lunch, and he's like, "Will you, Uncle Jason, will you build a lightsaber with me?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like waiting all my life for someone to ask me this. It was like a tear in my eye. I'm like, "Yes, child." So, like $200 later, I have a 2-cell Healan flash and a whole bunch of electronics. So this is just me messing around today, where I realized this morning I could hog out the bottom of the flash like bulb ejector, and it pressure fits the blade. And I'm like, oh, if I extended like another inch, I can make those little side things light up. And I'm just over the moon about it because he's gonna crap his pants when he sees this.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm really excited. Yeah. So yeah, that's happening in within a month probably. All right, so let me click over to here. There we go. So I am making a buddy of mine, Chris. He's the guy in the Porkins helmet on the right. He Gentle Giant scanned his head one time. So I have, if you give me a file of your head, you're going to be a pilot somewhere. Just
that is so awesome.
And these, they're pretty small, so the paintwork looks sloppy, but it's all right.
Yeah, those are smaller than like a marble.
Yeah. And I got to clean them up still. There's some black pinstriping that'll clean up that green line, which that's all I can see right now. And then once you weather it, it hides a lot of sins too. So they'll look good when they're done. But this is an in-progress thing. I just wanted to show that even if you can't paint figures really well, if you just keep trying, you eventually, whoa, there's somebody's, okay, in the chat.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. It looks like spam.
I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah, weird. But I don't paint faces, and this is really nice. I just don't have experience at it. This is really amazing affirmation for me that I can, start getting a little bit of headway in it. So they're not done. I need to I've been talking to friends who do this a lot better than I do, and they're giving me great pointers about thinning the paint and glazing it. So it's pretty great. But this is going in a master replica snowspeeder that I've gutted and am really going nuts with the detail. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the decals and all that. Yeah, look at that. Is this the one that you did for the snowspeeder?
Yeah. So this will be at Wonderfest too. This will definitely be done. And the seatbelts, that was another thing where I'm like, I'll figure it out when I get to it. And then it's just, to me, a masking tape, folded over itself and shored up and painted. And then I 3D printed the harnesses and it just, I was like, wow, that worked. So that was pretty cool. and this is Red 5 X-Wing, one of the hero guys I was talking about, with the fancy hollow wings. So I'm again hoping that'll come to the show. I don't know why it wouldn't, because this whole assembly you're looking at is probably the hardest part of the whole build as far as like a time sync.
Yeah, it's crazy how you ran the wires in there, and I mean, it's just the details. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I always try to make my next model better than the last one. And when you make an X-Wing and you've made like a dozen X-Wings, you really have to like, all right, how am I going to make this better than like the one I did before? But I always seem to figure out something nicer, newer to do. That always takes way more time,
Right.
But yeah, that's that.
Mr. Scott Berry, good to see you, man.
So
yeah, hey guys, real quick, I have no idea what's up on those comments, man. I've never in the history of this show seen that shit. But anyways, moving on, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, I must attract it.
It's you. Hey, check that out, man. I never saw the finished product. So for all you guys that don't know, this right here is well, you know what this is, but the Colonial Mover. It's out of Battlestar Galactica. So it's.
I was looking at an ugly Kleenex box on my desk, and I was like, "Can I make this look nicer?" And then I was like, "Holy crap! I can super deform a Colonial Mover's storage container." So I drew it up and printed, the panels, and I assembled it, and I sent it to Masterpiece Models, and he's going to mold and cast them and sell them if anybody wants to buy a couple. And this was like the test build that I gifted to a friend. So on the one side it says "We move anywhere," and then on this side it says "We sneeze anywhere."
That's really cool.
And I made decals for all 6 different containers. So although one of them technically is a reefer.
What a great shot too. I mean, it looks really
this was my joking around, like, looks good in any decor, image. That's my
you need to hook up with Mr. Tom over at Regal Robot. This is him and his furniture.
I was joking around with him about it when I told him that what I was working on. I'm like, hey man, like Death Star turret for the square boxes or Borg cube. I know he doesn't, but it made me start like thinking about all the different Kleenex box designs, which is just so dumb.
Hey, Mr. Mike, real quick, Mr. Michael. Yes, I did receive the shuttle. Unfortunately, one of the end pieces was broke, but everything, I mean, like always, Mark Elkins did a fantastic job on that build, and real happy with it. I just got to figure out that back piece where the light is. It's so thin, paper thin. So, but thanks for asking. Hey, Benjamin.
You're talking about the like half dome engine reflector.
Yes.
Yeah, I could hook you up probably. I think
that's awesome.
That's easy.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So this is a surprise for you, probably.
Holy moly!
You know what that is?
I do.
Yeah, there's going to be a studio scale Rebel transport happening at some point. Parts are ID'd, and more importantly, it is going to be dimensionally accurate, and that's all I can literally say about it. But
holy moly!
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know details. I'll know way more at Wonderfest because things are in the work right now, and I'm like, and this is not my work personally. This is the team working on stuff. But this is a slow burn I've been wanting to pull off for years and years. And I know other people have done amazing versions of it. I just always held off until I could get like hard data on the actual shell, because it's so organic or whatever. So
yes.
and it's really asymmetrical.
Joseph.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Joseph's going to be talking to me tomorrow a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, so let me ask you this. So I don't know if you've seen my Rebel transport that I have, and Mark Elkins built that one. It's a beautiful piece. It's only like a little over, I think it's right at like 2 feet in length. It's not.
Yeah, it is not a very large model. It's surprising. Okay. Yeah. I will farm out things. I try not to farm anything out as best I can, because I just like to be independent and work on my own time frame.
Of course.
But when it comes to face sculpting and ZBrush, like there are guys out there, as you can see, killing it. So this is red one, because my next X-Wing, I'm going to make a red one. And he even modeled the helmet on crooked. If you watch the film, I didn't even pick that up. Wow. If you watch the film, his helmet's like sort of cattywampus on his head, which is really cool. So that's going to be fun. This is that Endor Forest
Oh
Ranger.
my gosh, dude!
So-
Hang on. Okay, before we start on this one. Holy shit! Okay, yeah. Damn, dude. Okay, real quick, go if you don't mind. Go back real quick. Go back. Well, I'm shitting on that thing. Okay, so what are your thoughts, Jason, when you're looking at like how you're doing these and you're making them accurate? It's kind of like the jumping into like this. I want your thoughts on this. So, like, I just received from somebody Red One, and he did a really good job on it. The wings were 3D printed with the barrels on there, and the centerpiece was cast.
Mhm.
But my question to you is, when it comes to like the pilots, I mean, I know it depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for something that's a screen accurate piece that was done back in the 70s? Or are you looking, you don't care? You still want, that 70s model, but yet you want it updated with the pilots. What are your thoughts about? I mean,
okay, so I used to be staunchly harumph old man about this has to look exactly like the prop.
right.
And that's also two kind of distinct camps, because are we talking the prop that only now exists in photographs? Or are we talking the prop that has sat there for 40 years in UV light, has shifted to tan, and has been resprayed and fixed and dropped and whatever, like those things have gone through the ringer. So that's like a whole different ball of wax, right?
Okay.
And that's, endless debates and arguments, I've witnessed and participated in over the years. I have the luxury of having befriended the dudes that made the originals, and when you talk to them, they're like, if we could have made it nicer, we would have.
For sure.
Like they're like, we were under a time crunch, or it only needed to be XYZ for the film, for the set, and then it was just a tool to get the shot, and then it was cast aside or whatever. And so that kind of started changing my idea and viewpoint on what I wanted to do. And I also like to challenge myself. And I sort of felt like I had done that with, making the replica with like the crack where the crack's supposed to be, and the fingerprint on the helmet where that's supposed, like all that stuff that people do. And I love it. And I absolutely appreciate it.
Yes.
But I was like, if I could make it better, would that be better? And personally for me, yeah. So when we were doing the X-Wing body, rebuilding it digitally and comparing it with photogrammetry and all that, I was like, could we? And I patterned the ILM cockpit with all the original parts, and that can go in it. But I was like, could we, like, because I have these incredible form printers, like, make the filming set from A New Hope, not the Empire one, because they're different,
Right.
and graft that in there. And my 3D guy was like, yeah, like let's do this. And it sort of fell together. And then I was like, all right, well, if we're going to go to that length, let me throw money at someone very talented with ZBrush, and let's make the pilots look like the guys.
Yeah.
And so I've got red at the moment, red 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The next one will be 6, and that needs a new body because Porkins was a bigger.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that next. Have you seen it? Have you seen the ZBrush version of Porkins yet, or no?
No. We haven't even started on that.
Okay. That would be really cool.
Yeah, red, like Porkins, and then I'm going to do Red 10 because he's on screen.
Wow.
I have Fake Wedge, who's that guy that everybody affectionately refers to as Fake Wedge, who's like criticizing the blast hole during the briefing scene, and he's the guy that Luke talks to, that says like, I used to bullseye womp rats on my T-16 back home. He doesn't show up in the trench run, so I could either make him a different like bird or whatever. So like for the like if I make a red 12, I'm just gonna throw a different head in. I don't know exactly which one yet. Like by the time I get to the end, because I also want to commission the 3 Y-Wing pilots also. So I have those as well for the future. And then I'm like, I'll probably move on to my friends. So, like a buddy of mine will probably end up in one of the cockpits, in 5 years.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. I love being able to do that. That's really
So to answer your question in my very roundabout way, I like to add detail if it makes sense and I can pull it off.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And if you go, my website is Jason Eaton Studio. If you click, let me if you click replicas and you click that X-Wing, it's my friend Chris again in there because it's for him. And you can see that cockpit that we made. And it's pretty bananas.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, the sex people are back in the chat.
Yeah, they're
Like,
blocked now.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny when you see that. I'm like, it's 2022. People know where to go for nudity on the internet. We don't.
I know exactly.
I don't.
It's sure the hell isn't on collection.
Yeah, I don't think anybody needs a link. Like, here's a hot tip. You know.
Oh.
Anyway,
wow.
So yeah, there's that.
Damn, dude. Damn it.
Yeah, the Endor Force Ranger. So this was actually sort of a commission. It was a request, and I just rose to the occasion. No, it's not any. It's still my property. It's still mine. So who knows, like, what's going to end up happening? But
just keep that on the downside, right there, buddy.
Yeah. So,
hey, so for the viewers, I don't mean to cut you off, Jason. So for the viewers out there, tell me if I'm wrong. That's a 6-scale, 12-inch doll, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think that's a sideshow Endor soldier, dude.
Yeah. And then on the bottom is the original Kenner.
Yeah, that's the 1/18th scale toy.
Yep.
So I scaled it up to 1/6, and it lights up and it rotates, and it'll be at Wonderfest.
That thing is just beautiful.
If I'm standing there, I'll give it a spin for you.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that was a cool, fun design challenge. This is something I'm working on. It'll be I make a bunch of droids in 1/12 scale, and he's next in line. I think I showed this to you a while ago. But that's the Umbrella droid. I think he's also called Septoid. I'm not entirely sure. So that's
hilarious.
That dude.
Oh man, hey, but go back real quick. So on this one right here, where are you? How many are we at in the collection now?
There's Gonk. There's the boiler droid that toddles by in the Sandcrawler. There's the two domed. Well, there's the dome dude from the Homestead, and there's the green domed guy from the Sale of the Droids.
Yeah. And
there's the Death Star droid that's silver. What else? Oh, football head guy. Is that it? Oh, Treadwell and the Mind Droid. So I'm up to 8 at the moment.
Are you going to do the one with that has the fluorescent green striping on it?
Fluorescent green striping.
Yeah, it's just like a tall. It doesn't move. It's just like a.
Oh, the R1.
Yeah, I think so. It's just got
I've started working on him too. In fact, we've got a buddy of mine helps me sometimes with this stuff too. We got R1, and then we've got that really super duper weird one that's in the back corners of Tatooine streets. He's sort of purplish.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I want to do all the droids.
And some of them light up and some don't?
Yeah, they light up. Yeah, if you go to my website.
I've seen them. I know, dude. I know some of them do. I've seen them.
Yeah. If they have a light in them, in the movie, they've got a light or lights.
That's so awesome, bro. That is just really, really cool.
And I might do a couple. Treadwell, that's another one. I might do a couple in 1/6. I'm not entirely sure.
Wow.
So this was I made the ion cannon, the studio scale one, and then within a couple days, because I put turnarounds on my website, so a guy was like, hey, I'm going to model this. And I was like, cool, just do me a gentleman's favor and don't sell the files for 30 days if you could, just so the guy that wanted to cast the parts for the builders doesn't feel threatened. And he was like, oh yeah, that's fine. So he was nice enough to give me that file that he made. And it's a very nice replica. And I was like, I wonder if I shrunk it down to snow globe size, if that would translate. And check it out. That is a 1-piece 2-day casting on a Form 3.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Not a lot of people that are looking at this moisture evaporator.
Oh yeah, that's 1/6 scale, and I do believe Masterpiece Models will probably mold and cast that too. Because a couple of people asked me if I would make them for them, and I'm like, I did it in 1/12, and I was like, I got the file, but I don't give my files out, and I don't feel spending a week or two growing all the parts for somebody. And I was like, I could just get them cast, and I'm sure people would want to buy it for their 1/6 collections. So that will be dimensionally accurate to the hero that's 36 feet tall or whatever in real life. It's going to be a tall model. It's going to be.
Is this the one that has the blue lights or the red lights?
I think it's got red lights. Yeah.
The
It's
only
the
blue
one,
are the ones that
Luke,
are down in the hole, right?
No, that's not the one in the hole. It's the one that Luke works on in the cut scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's in a lot of production stills, and actually components of it do float around, like when they're doing the checkpoint where like move along. There's it's in that shot too, of course. Like they didn't think anybody would be crazy enough to ID dents and crap.
Hey, so let me ask you this, and Jason, if you can't talk about it, just simply say I can't talk about it. Not a real big deal, but so for example, when we had you on the show the last time, you were in the works of building that beautiful ion cannon, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you did that, then it was sent to the other gentleman that does the casting. I don't know if you can talk about him.
Yeah, Masterpiece Models. Yeah.
Masterpiece
So
Models.
I don't make kits, but when it comes to like sets of raw parts, I'm fine loaning something out if somebody wants to help out. I like helping out other builders.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what. So that was my question. Is obviously you were able to put this together, and Masterpiece. This guy makes a living at selling models, correct? I mean, he does them in.
Yeah, he had a hobby shop. He's a model maker guy. Yeah, he's got a pretty diverse set of stuff. Yeah,
there's a lot of people. It's really cool to see something that you worked on, with your very small reference on the ion cannon. I remember early on in the project, you were sharing a few things with me, and I loved it. I got a couple of them and gifted one to my good friend Matt. And he's kicking ass and taking names on his display, but and I'm having fun with mine as well. But just the way you did with the plexi around there with the Empire, that looks just beautiful.
Yeah,
it's cool. All these people that are working on it. I know there's a lot of people out there that have your piece now.
It's really neat. I'm really flattered that people thought it was good enough to get copies of. Yeah. And because it was so impossible to ID a lot of the detail, I told them, like you're going to have to freestyle that little trench to a certain degree. So it's also really cool to see people like riff, and people have contacted me, gone out of their way to say that was really fun. And I'm like, now you know why I make all the concept models, because it is fun to be creative.
Yeah, and those are the ones I got my eye on, your concept models.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Speaking of I guess we could talk about that when we're done looking at the pics.
I'll go to the next one.
Yeah. There you go, right there.
Yeah, Colin Cantwell Y-Wing. So that is, it will be a bunch of castings from you'll get castings of all that crap, which is I didn't do the IDs. I had a little trusted group of friends that did the IDs, and they are to be commended. And I took the extra step to make the canopies because I know people well enough that they're not going to want to do that part. And if I ever make more than one, I'm not going to want to do it more than once.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, for this one piece or two pieces, I'll go ahead and pattern the scratch built parts, and then everybody can go from there. So he's working on molding and casting all the donor parts for a T16 Skyhopper right now. So people can build Skyhoppers. And when that project wraps up, I'm going to send him this stuff. So it'll be this year, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you did the is it the T16 or the Skyhopper? What is that? Yeah. So what's can you talk about that one?
Yeah. What do you need to?
So are you in the works of is it going to be this other guy that did the ion cannon that's going to?
Yeah. Masterpiece Models. It'll be a Greebly pack. It'll be a part set because it's just the raw parts. And then I'll give a little cheat sheet on where everything gets glued down. There will be laser cut. There will be laser cut panels, and it's just sort of construction wise, it's very simple and elegant. It's not like you can put it together in a weekend necessarily, but it's not like a horrific, go at it.
I know these are like it's a collaboration with you and other people when y'all are finding all the donor parts and everything. And I think it's fantastic that there's that group of you guys that share all that together to create something that's badass. So it must be totally different thing for you when you're doing like the Macquarie Sandcrawler, because it's a drawing, right? So you have freedom of kind of making it your own. Exactly.
It's so much more fun
Yeah.
and gratifying. Yeah, because you can freestyle stuff, and that making this part set, making a Sandcrawler, it's all born out of my desire to like try to experience what they experienced working on the original films.
Right.
You know, like I wanted to work for ILM as a kid, and it's like not there anymore.
Wow.
So yeah. Okay, so this next series of photos are the Macquarie probe droid.
Yeah.
This is the top half shell of the body, and I took this picture to illustrate that even if you design something in 3D and it's mathematically perfect and you print it out on your fancy dancy printer, look at that gap. That white stripe is air.
Wow.
Like, it just didn't, for parts warp, and that's epoxy sculpt that I cured and then sanded down flat or whatever, and it's completely invisible now. Like, it's fine and it's structurally sound, but like, it's funny. Like, some people will get mad when this kind of thing happens. I love it because it gives the model like a soul.
Yes.
It sounds goofy, but then suddenly you're like, now it's kind of wonky. It's not mathematically perfect, and now we're off by like 6 millimeters or whatever. Like, I like that. So I thought that was a cool thing to show that even working with the 3D stuff is still incredibly weird and organic and unpredictable sometimes. And maybe I'm just doing it all wrong, but I'm fine.
So when you did this, you're so basically on the Macquarie, right? It's a Macquarie version style. Is it?
Yeah, there's a little Joe Johnson in there too. But
oh yeah, right. Yeah. That's right. And then you're basically mirroring the studio scale probe droid, which is approximately how tall? It's about what?
Oh my God, I'll get to that. I will show you a photo.
All right, sounds good. I remember we were talking about it.
Yeah. So this is the bottom of that body, and this just shows my little armature that I rigged up out of parts from the local Lowe's or whatever, and that's my that's my very, very elegant way of locking it down with gobs of epoxy. I needed to get it 90 degrees or whatever, so that's not going anywhere, kind of thing. This shows some of the electronics. I had a very talented friend program. It like does movement and it has sound. It's on my website now, actually. And there's a little video that shows it off.
Yeah, it's great.
That just shows like the nest of things I had to cram into places. There was room, but I quickly ran out. You can also see that servo that's sitting on a black disc. That is actually a whole assembly that's like the rotating like neck assembly.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I love this, how you did this through this.
Yeah. And that predates Jedi, so that somebody must have been influenced. That's
so it's in the, is it in the drawing?
It's in the painting. Yeah.
No kidding.
And you can see like, I don't know what, I must have exported that one piece at a lower resolution because you can see that horrible pattern. And that's me hitting it with primer after I thought I sanded it smooth, and it shows all the sins, so I had to really go back a couple passes to get it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So the little squares, you don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, man.
A lot of stuff to tighten. It's the little details that you really need to pay attention to tighten up.
For sure.
Because I want somebody to be able to like look at it from like a couple inches away with their bifocals and know, like, okay, like it's clean. There are, and you can see a line in that head, that circle. That's another seam that I discovered and had to putty over. All 5 legs completely articulate, and there's ball joints, and I've gotten good enough with the 3D tolerances that I can friction fit parts. I'm very, very pleased with how.
How do you do those? Me and Salzo were talking. He's started on my Pro Droid. He sent me some video today of the sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was giving me the option of, do you want the legs to be flexible, or do you want them just to be solid? And I don't really need them to be,
Oh, you made his year.
I know, he told me.
Yeah, that resin kit was patterned as a one-off scratch build that Rolando made long time ago, and he was kind enough to like kind of break it apart and then it was molded and cast. So that was never meant to move. So to get that particular kit to, be articulated, I've done it 3 times. I would never do it again, especially with my hands. Like, that's kind of a hand killer with all that resin. But that informed me, like, structurally and like order of operations wise, that when I got to this point, I really kind of knocked it out of the park in my head, like where it all needed to go before I even started drawing it. So that's the underside. And again, okay, so you've got 5 sockets. I wanted to be able to put the legs on late in the game so I wouldn't knock them around. Right. And so I ended up making these like self-contained cartridges with swivels in them that I could glue in there without worrying about the glue hitting any joints. So they rotate, in independently as a cartridge that sockets into that hole. It's pretty nuts.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's, pardon me. That's a couple more legs getting primed. That's eyeball.
You kind of see the scale with your hand.
Mm-hmm. So it ended up ballooning out of scale. That's looking down into the body with the armature. That's another, picture. So that servo is hiding in the head, and there's 2 servos on top of each other, and that top one is what makes the radar dish move around in the top of the head, which comes out of that hole. And so I detail all of that, and you can't see most of it, but I worried, like, if no one's going to do it, but if somebody could take a pen light and hit it at the right angle, they're going to see all that pattern.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So I just throw that in there because, so that's the sideshow.
Okay.
I did the Paint Master for that, funny enough, but that's the sideshow one.
Yeah, that's right. You did it first. Yeah.
I mistakenly oversized it when I started sending files to the printer, and I was like a third of the way along when I realized it, and then I was like, okay, I guess he's just a real big boy now. So, so that's
the thing with the painting. You can kind of make it your own,
Yeah, and again, I picked that copper color because it would show off the shape.
Fantastic.
And it sort of speaks to the warm tones of the Macquarie painting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the Battlestar section. I threw this in just for you.
Holy shit!
I made a whole bunch of Battlestar models back in the day. I've got more pictures of this I could throw up later.
Okay, wait a minute. Hang tight. Michael Planny, are you seeing this? Let me ask you this. Is this, you have this right now?
No, I sold this ages ago to a guy.
Holy crap. Is this a ragtag? What is this?
Yeah. Okay, so I call this is like, and this was from the new Galactica universe in my mind. This was Capricom Communications. So it was from Caprica, and it was like a cable van, like communications ship. Like, imagine that it's like an AWACS or a jammer or whatever. But I was like, okay, in the ragtag fleet, there's probably like a contractor van or something. And I was like, what about a cable van? And I hate Comcast so much. So I was like, Capricom Communications. It's a couple C's, little alliterative. And their tagline, I don't know if I have the picture of it here, but there's a decal underneath that. You can kind of see the Capricom a little bit on that one thing. It says, when people talk, we listen, which I thought was a little sinister, like they're spying on everyone. So it had a bunch of like radar dishes and stuff. So yeah, this was just a design exercise I wanted to do, and that's the back of it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Man, so I love that piece.
That was really fun.
And that's a scratch build. Did you have good reference on that?
Oh, it's complete. I made it up. It's a total scratch build.
Oh, that's badass, dude. Yeah, I love the greens and the reds. That's
this was just me having fun. Like,
that's really cool, man.
Those are like, and then this was a badass models Paint Master I did for Jeff and Kip to put on their table at Wonderfest all those years ago, and that was also really fun. I was like, I've got a bunch of Battlestar stuff I never show off. I never finished that, and I gave it to a friend.
It's funny, Mike donated his prison. So for you guys that don't know, that's the prison bar. Yeah, your prison ship.
Yeah,
on Battlestar Galactica.
It's so weird. I completely lost interest and just gave it to somebody. That's so funny. That's a Raider. So when you're looking at the CG renders of the ship, it's got like this weird kind of pitted look to it.
Here we go again. Those sons of bitches, man.
God, yeah, they're back. So that was fun. I got to like stipple the surface and then hit it with like silvers and make it look like sort of like pot metal or whatever. This you can't really quite tell, but this was Mike Salzo made a huge Viper, like enormous, like 3 feet long. This is one of those that I converted as a design exercise to be like in between the original series and the new series. Like, so it does, this isn't like, accurate to anything. But I wanted to sort of see if I could make like a Mark 1.5 or something.
Yeah, what's the scale? Because I've got the smaller studio one that Mike built. I've got it here.
We'll have to ask Mike. I mean, like it's like 3 feet long. It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, you can't quite see, but I think it says Lieutenant Jason Eaton, Roboter Conf. Like I made myself in there. Yeah. So hey, that's me before I had a beard. Oh, okay. So cool. I did that. All right. So I found a keychain video thing that played GIFs, and I did an animation of a Dratus, and I uploaded it to this keychain stupid thing and put it in there and showed it to the guy that I used to be the art director for QMX before the company changed hands, and the guy took my idea. So I did it first. He got that from me. I was flattered to not get any credit, but like that is from like, I don't know, that's from like 2006 or 7.
Man, I love seeing the Battlestar stuff. There's just, I know a lot of our viewers really enjoyed Battlestar, but we just,
That's the underside. Actually, you can see there's a little power port like to the bottom right.
Yep.
Big hole. That shows you the size of it. That's like a phone jack, power.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, I know a lot of times that you and Mike, especially the way y'all do the wiring, but I love the way they was just plug in. It's just so clean, and you don't have to worry about, oh, that's so cool. That's badass looking.
I patterned this. I still have the master pattern if somebody wants it, because I'm just not going to do anything with it. But that's the antique Viper. That's the first version they made that was stolen off the set that never got shot. But I had really good, nice.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
What scale is that?
That's studio scale.
Which is what?
Like the size of a studio scale Viper, but with the back different, like 124-ish, I guess.
Okay, I was gonna say it's not quite 124, but close.
Yeah. And that's the back of it, so it's completely different from. And this was also like 15 years ago, I feel like.
This is way before the printers.
Yeah, this is all.
Your hands were like a million miles an hour.
Oh my god, that's why they're broken. Yeah. I made a Colonial Movers.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And this is the part where you're going to be like, damn it, it's got the hand of God Vipers ready to go.
Holy shit.
The light is way too bright. I'm very embarrassed at how bright that blue is. But that whole little series of Vipers, I had a buddy print on like one of those old school Stratus.
Yeah, way back.
That was so like exotic at the time. Like it was so insane that I could get that made. And I just marvel. I'm so amazed now that I could like crap those out.
Did you sell that one too, or what?
Oh yeah, long gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know a lot of those things. Like when Salzo. Do you know the story behind Salzo's scratched?
Yeah.
Because I love having that in my collection. But I don't know anything about those.
It's funny. Like after I made that Kleenex box, I started gathering parts to make another one. Like I'm like, I want to make one. So eventually I'm going to make another one.
Yeah.
This is the Vermithrax pejorative from the movie Dragon Slayer as a skeleton. A buddy made this really amazing ZBrush sculpt, and it was molded and cast. And I painted it to look like those weird fossils at like the Science Museum. And then, and this was this was back when I did commissions. This was a commission for somebody. He wanted it like on a really cool base. So I found a guy that made really neat tables out of like driftwood.
That's unbelievable.
It's nuts. It is really nice. It's huge too. I mean, that's a side table with this giant skeleton dragon on it. So, and that's the last picture.
Man, that's so cool to me because I've never seen these. That's cool that you shared those.
Yeah, I just thought it might be fun to see some crap.
I love seeing that. So I know your heart. So you like Battlestar. You just never. It's pretty much. Would you say Star Wars is your cup of tea?
Star Wars is, yeah. I mean, it's my safety blanket. Whatever. It's what it's what I fall asleep thinking about, like where the parts are going to go. Like,
Yeah,
it's always something Star Wars.
I feel so sorry for you, man.
Challenge. It's like I'm never going to run out of shit. Yeah. And as much as I hate heat, like I love Tatooine. I'm like, why am I so obsessed with this desert planet? Because like I'm a hot man. It was 48 degrees outside. I never, when I went out to lunch, I was wearing a t-shirt. It was like, yeah. Everybody else is like, ugh. I'm walking around like, oh, my pits are wet. Like whatever.
So do you have a lot of how many? You got quite a few things that you're going to be premiering at Wonderfest, huh?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But Star Wars, I love Battlestar because it's sort of kissing cousins design wise to Star Wars stuff. That's the same team worked on that stuff. I love Star Trek. I never really talk about it, but when Star Wars went away especially in the 80s, Next Gen was like must see TV. Like I would not go out on a date with a girl if it was the night, or I would date a girl that wanted to watch the show. We had a party for the season finale or for the series finale of Next Gen at a friend's house. I remember vividly like hanging out and watching the Q thing finish up, and we were all like, "Holy shit!"
That's funny.
I wasn't crazy enough to like tape the episodes or anything, but I know the names of the episodes, and I love the original series. Next Gen and the original series are my favorites by far. Star Trek 6 Undiscovered Country, I think, is maybe my favorite Star Trek film. But I want to build a Star Trek model for Wonderfest next year. I was talking to Joseph about it, actually.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I don't want to give anything away, but it's going to be a TOS era riff, and I'm making it up. It's just a design exercise again.
That'll be really cool. And you are familiar with Joseph just purchased. I wish we could show it, but I don't really have his permission. But that I know we'll show it eventually on the show. But that model he just picked up is just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Somebody just asked if I've done any alien stuff, and I have. Let me
Very cool.
Let me pull up pictures. Yeah, okay, let me see if I can share it again.
This is a fun show. Man, I love the studio shit.
All right, I think this will work. Can that get bigger? I'm on the PC. I'm not on now. It doesn't work. Hang on. I did an alien derelict. It's small. You can kind of see what it is. And I have a Narcissus set of parts essentially that I want to build. Have I done other alien stuff? I can't even remember. Like everything just sort of blends after a while. I did Paintmaster for the Power Loader for Hollywood Collectibles Group. That was really fun because it's like quarter scale. It's really huge.
Can you pull up the picture of the orca that you did?
I didn't do the orca.
No. I know you didn't do it, but the one that you painted up.
Oh, I didn't paint it.
Yours. You have it, the model.
Yeah, but that came fully assembled to me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like I took it off the table and brought it home with me.
Okay, I was right behind you wanting to buy that, and you bought it right in front of me.
Well, no, it was pre-done. He was.
I thought it was a kit.
He was doing a kit, but he's like, I'm trying to fund like casting it. Do you know anybody that would want to buy it, like a buildup of it to like fund my project? And I was like, yeah, I actually think I know a guy. And there's a guy that's like, yeah, I'll buy it. So he sent me the money.
A guy to another guy.
Yeah, I had a vested interest in buying a kit of the orca, which I did. So I do have a kit of it, but it's Bill Weger. So Bill builds it, paints it, and says, "I'm going to have it on the table at the end of the show. Take it home, and then give it to your collector guy." And I was like, "Cool." And he said, "Just between you and me, this guy got it for a really good deal because I." Like all of us, we always underestimate the amount of time. So it was like beneficial for everyone kind of thing. And then the collector guy lost interest in it and it became mine. Like, so I do have a set of parts for it that I bought at that show.
I remember.
It's funny that like, yeah.
I love that little, that thing. I was talking to the guy working on the Wampa and we were talking about like, doing the head of Jaws, but he was like, what would be cool? Whenever he says, what would be cool, I'm in a lot of trouble. Kind of like when you talk to me about shit. But he was talking about like when you walk into the bar part to have like the back end of the orca ship.
Yeah,
like
that would be cool.
But that's like getting, you know what I mean?
That's an environment. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to be like.
You could have the dude's head floating somewhere. Like a little peephole, like water tank, and occasionally it floats by.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Something for the kids,
or like an arm, just the arm.
Yeah. Earlier, Stuart asked if I'm going to use the engine bells for the Rebel transport that he had made all those years ago. I'm not sure. I haven't. I have to dig them out of storage. I know I still have them, but I need to measure them against the data that I have now. But they look right, so I don't see why not. So awesome. Yeah, and they're aluminum, so I wouldn't have to like grow them in resin and paint them to look right or whatever, or get more new ones machined, which is fantastic. So yeah, it always surprises me how I'll get something and then 10 years, 15 years later, it's like, oh, I can use that now. Like I'm crazy, but not that crazy. Like it worked.
So on the T-16, the Skyhopper parts, when is that going to be? Is the cast going to be done and available?
I don't know. He's working on it. Like everywhere, he said it's hard to find good helpers. So I think he's a one-man shop right now.
I understand.
Yeah. So I'll touch base with him. I'll ask him.
Does he have everything that he needs?
Yeah. I gave him every part, and it, like like everything, man. It is not a cheap. If you were to go out and ID everything and buy all those kits and buy like 8 of the one kit that goes for like, $75 on eBay, suddenly you're spending a couple grand, and once you build it, you're done. So I'm like, before I build it with all the original parts, if I get them cast, everybody wins. And I can build a resin one later for, shits and giggles if I want or whatever. So
let me ask you this. When that does come available, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want that. Number one, is it a real to build it? Like I know that there's different scales of modelers and their talents, but is it going to be like I think this ion cannon was a good starter model for a lot of people?
Yeah, the ion cannon pretty easy. The reason I had the ball molded and cast, like the reason I bothered to do that was I knew the one I eventually finished, like the plated actual styrene and acrylic, like I knew that's probably going to get snapped up by someone. And if I ever want to build another one, I never want to plate another ball because that took so long. I had to have styrene vacuum formed over a 12-inch dome. It was expensive. And I just didn't want to go through the agony. Well, it's not the best, but I thought, we could get that rotocast, and then like the model's like cake after that. Like you said, it's very easy to do. I would say the Skyhopper is maybe about as labor intensive as if you got one of his part sets for the escape pod. It's probably on par with that. It's a whole bunch of model parts, so you're going to spend a little bit of time cleaning, flash or whatever. And you're going to have to look at photos and glue everything down the way they did originally, which I know some people are like, they find that a drag. And I'm like, that's the fun part. That's the zen.
Can you share a picture of the Skyhopper?
Yeah.
Is it hard to do?
It's on my website. I'm just going to pull my website.
Yeah, do that. Dude, that'd be awesome, actually. Because I don't think that we went, I don't know, I can't remember on the first show if we did that.
Yeah, hang on. So I'm
a well put together site, too.
Thanks. I'm a Mac guy, so whenever I'm doing like anything that's not 3D on the PC, I'm like, how do I do this again? Replicas, yeah. All right, let me share that screen.
Yeah, you're doing fantastic. Because everybody knows I'm the non-computer knowledge. I'm done.
I do something similar I'm working the graphics department for the NIH, so I get run out of town if I failed at doing this.
Yeah.
Where is it? Skyhopper. There you go. Yeah. So this tells a little story about everything. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That is my.
You can see that one on StarWars.com.
Yeah. That was really cool that they featured it.
Yeah, that is a really, really cool. That's Gabe's favorite model too.
It is a neat design. It's so weird, and I love that middle thing.
The wheel.
Yeah, so that's a truck wheel, and then this is a vintage 3M tape dispenser.
Oh, look at that.
And you have to get the stupid freaking vintage one because the modern ones don't have those three little things. So you have to spend like 12 or 15 bucks. Here's a hot tip if you want to get a vintage one, and it has to be the right thickness too, because they have different thicknesses. There was something called hair tape, and it comes in like a pink package. It was like a beauty product that 3M made, and it's just tape for your hair. And that'll have the right reel in it, and it's usually white. So that's cool. But like, yeah, so that part is the same. These two guys, there's like 3 or 4 of them on the ship. Each one of these comes out of a Hurricane. Hurricanes are like $100 each now, and you only get 1 per kit.
Jeez.
So you're like, it adds up so fast.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's nuts. This is the oil filter off a 1/16th car. It Cantwell bought a Jeb Allen praying mantis that it's like $200, and you just need this one part, I think, for the Skyhopper. So it becomes crushing very quickly. Skis were knocked off ages ago. I don't even know if the skis are on it.
God, I didn't know it had skis on there. That's so cool.
Yeah, we found a photo of it when it was first built, and it had those. And in fact, these guys are now laying flat. It was restored in the 90s, and they didn't have the photos they have now, and they were glued on 90 degrees off. So
I think it's really cool how all the work that he did early on. Colin. That they did use this piece in the film.
It's the only model that's in the movie, which is
yeah.
Yeah, these guys are long gone. This is off a stupid expensive kit.
Looks like Mark Hamill broke that shit when it's live. When you see
that,
film.
he like slams it on the table and it moves. This heat sink is impossible to find. I think you can order it from Germany, but you have to spend like hundreds of dollars and get like a box of them. I went to Apex out in LA and found them in the stacks and almost got them all, like between me and the other like 5 or 6 guys. So I have a limited quantity of them, that I could part with a couple if anybody's like itching for real metal.
That's so cool, man.
I was shocked because I feel like in this day and age, when you go to those surplus places, they've been picked clean, but they actually still had some shit. And it's like you haggle with the owner. Like you walk up, you're like, you have to look disinterested. Like, I guess I'll buy this. And he's like, $5. And I'm like, ha ha ha. Like this would have been $100. Like once he knows it's for Star Wars, you're dead.
Were you able to watch the any skits or the show last week with Sierra with Colin Campbell?
No. This has been a crazy week.
You gotta check it out.
Yeah. It's on my very short list. I'll probably watch it tomorrow.
It's really cool when she talks about the pill bottles and stuff. And I remember you telling me the story after, I was able to get the Cantwell Java crawler from you.
Yeah. This is a Trek thing. I always forget I did this. This is a Trek model. That's the McKinley station from Encounter at Farpoint. A collector bought it and it was in storage for, a million years.
What's that from?
That is from Encounter at Farpoint. That's
okay.
When Picard takes possession of the Enterprise or whatever, it's the dry dock that's like surrounding the Enterprise D. And I know Greg Jean and talked to him about this model. He built this thing. And he's like, yeah, this wasn't made to last. He's like, holy shit. And it was stored improperly. So I had to I did a sympathetic restoration, very similar. Like Tom Spina and I talk about that kind of stuff all the time. It's like, this whole thing's cracked. So you have to piece Humpty Dumpty back together again and very carefully sand and paint and match.
Wow.
So all of this is original and the repair has to be invisible.
Is this after the repair?
Yeah, it's during. Yeah. So the only concession we made, I added this very industrial looking mount to it. It's removable, but he was going to hang it from the ceiling. I took out all the 12-volt neon and replaced it with LEDs, for longevity reasons or whatever.
That's so amazing.
All of these pieces were just shattered. It took so long to do. It was very gratifying though.
Yeah.
And the other concession we made on the original, this was a really badly Xeroxed black and white of the logo. I had a color version made and we put it on there. because, you know, it should have looked like that. He wanted it to look a little more legit or whatever.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I think it's what's really funny too. I can't remember where it is. One of these squares still had the tape on it from when the model was made, and like they missed peeling it off to show the other panel.
Oh, so it's kind of peeled up.
It hadn't peeled up. I was like, and then that became this conversation like, do you want me to leave it or do you want me to peel it up? Because they intended for this tape to come up and no one ever caught it. So I think we ended up leaving it so to give him the option later. But yeah, all of that was like shored up essentially. It's a funky design, and you can see how big it is. There's my
damn. That's weird looking.
Yeah, well, it fit the 4-foot or 6-foot Enterprise or whatever that size was.
Yeah, that's crazy cool.
It's a weird model, and it's asymmetrical. It doesn't have 4 arms. There's only one of these. There was never one there. So,
oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's a neat, weird model. But that's a Star Trek thing I did. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. Hey, Left Coast says, I bet that we see Luke get this toy, that Skyhopper, and the Kenobi series. Would that be cool?
I am so hoping that happens.
Oh, I know. There's so many cool things that they can do.
Yeah.
Man, hey, I want everybody to know.
There's the power level.
Dude, there's so many things I want to ask you about all that shit, dude. That's badass, bro.
Yeah, that's
look at that shit.
Yeah. Fun times.
Tell us about that. Can you real quick?
Yeah. This was a sort of faithful reproduction of the filming puppet miniature, like quarter scale from Aliens, the Hollywood Collectibles group did. They were like, hey, would you do a paint master? And, you know, it's just basically it was resin castings from their pattern. And I was tasked with doing all the decal work, figuring out all the hoses. That was all me, like from reference photos. I'm plugged in with a couple Aliens experts like Willie and Harry. And they helped me greatly with that. Just to make, you know, because I'm like real, like obsessive with it being accurate, you know.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I know, right? And like even this, you know, it was raised, but I said, can I do the little blue halo around the eye, like in the logo? And he was like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. So like, you know, it's really gratifying to be able to add little touches to these kinds of products. What's really funny is somewhere in this model is Van Ling's initials, VL.
Oh, cool.
And it's an Easter egg. I think maybe also Darren restored it for the original for James Cameron back in the day, and he added a little tell, and it has survived to this day in replicas. So when I showed him this, he immediately honed in. He's like, "Yep, they copied it." I was like, "Well, why wouldn't they? You know, like they think it's from the film, but that was a Easter egg done after the fact that has survived into every iteration of this thing."
Yeah, that thing is badass. Yeah. I love seeing that. I forget your involvement on the RoboCop piece down there.
Oh yeah, that was a nightmare. Like, so, and I got to talk to Phil about this. Yeah, this is the Chronicle Collectibles.
When you say Phil, who's that?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know him very well at all. I don't.
Okay, I thought you did.
No, I don't want to misconstrue it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he's like he's a nice guy, but like I just love how blunt he is with his stories. And he basically said, I was like, okay, I'm familiar with the Ed 209, but this cane was like a nightmare of parts and so intricate. And like, how did you guys design and machine this back in the day? It's gorgeous. Like those 4 pistons that form the like pivot for the waist.
Yes.
You know, holy crap, it's so artful. And he said, right after RoboCop was made, like right after, he said, I was in Japan and somebody had made a bootleg garage kit of the Ed 209, and I got pissed off. And when we did RoboCop 2, I was like, try and copy this, motherfuckers. He was like,
that's hilarious.
He was literally kind of like driven to make this so like gonzo because, you know, like you just, you know, like I will do stuff like that too. I'm like, you know, like get a load of this kind of thing. But this one,
Jason, what was your role in this one?
The Chronicle worked with Tippett Studio. The original was disassembled completely, cataloged. Every part was molded and cast individually. I received 2 copies of every single part. It was a sea of little bits. and then I assembled everything, put it together with. I drilled and tapped the resin with screws. It was completely posable, and then I photo matched all the weathering in the right colors, and to get like the original. It's funny. All of this on the original is like a metallic impregnated grayish resin.
Wow.
But I found a paint that really got like incredibly close.
Dude,
so I lucked out with that. All this silver, which on the original is machined aluminum, is Tamiya semi-gloss black over Tamiya primer, and then all clad chrome. It's all paint. This whole thing's paint. And then, so once I was done, I was given a photo of the pose they wanted, and then I like heartbreakingly had to go in and super glue everything into place. And even this back spine, this is rubber on the original prop and on this particular build. This is a piece of rubber because it needed to flex and move.
So they'll take like your master and then they'll send it off to get
it. One went to the factory, for reference, and the other one went to, I guess, Toy Fair or whatever.
Gotcha.
This took years off my life, but it was really worth it.
Yeah, man, I would love to have that piece. I'd love.
Yeah, when I met him for the first time, I had finished it, and he goes, "Oh, you did the paint work. You did that whole build up, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." And he kind of paused and he goes, "Yeah, you did all right." Which I was like, "Holy shit, that's high praise."
Oh, you're talking about Phil said that.
Yeah. And that's
that is high praise.
Clear resin for the lens and stuff. That was a really fun. It was a really fun thing to make.
Yeah, that's a good shot with you with it in the bottom left. Yeah, that's a great shot.
Me pimping for Chronicle back in the good days or whatever.
Yeah, that's funny. Hey, I know it's kind of old school, but to our viewers, it's really not on a lot of these things. But can we go up to the land speeder? I love that freaking land speeder. I'm so blessed to have that in my collection. Can you tell us just briefly about this one?
Yeah, the story's here, but basically, I got it in my head that I wanted to make a land speeder one day, and then talking to a guy, he I don't know if I told this part on on the website, when the Mystery Imagination, whatever the name of that thing, Myth and whatever, when that tour hit Chicago, one of the guys at the museum was a Star Wars fan and had a tape measure and knew CAD. And he mapped out the life-size prop completely, like just took complete measurements, and all of those life-size replicas you see are from his data. And he apparently didn't get what he he collaborated with somebody and didn't get what they said he was going to get, so he was a little burnt. And he said, what do you want to do with this data? And I said, I want to make it studio scale, 1/5 scale, but accurize it to the life-size one. So it's like, I call it studio scale, PSEUDIO. It's close, but it's not technically what ILM made. And he's like, if I give you my CAD, will you send me a kit, essentially, whatever you end up making? And I was like, absolutely. And he got the first one. I'm true to my word. So that worked really well. And from that,
9 of them, total of 9.
I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't that many.
And then when you say 1/5 scale, that's kind of like, because the one that they have, when you say the studio scale, they have it and they show the $6 million man sitting in that thing.
Yeah, it fits a $6 million man. Yeah. Probably should have made it 1/6. I think that would have tickled people more. But I'm studio guy.
I'll tell you what, man. Mike did a kick-ass job on
gorgeous. Yeah, and
he did the lights inside. I know he had very little reference. I guess he got the reference from you, I'm sure. And
Sean Corsini is the guy that did all the Rhino work on this back in the day, because I didn't know any 3D stuff. So this is where I live, for plumbing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, I love that. That's on the model I've got. I told him to put grime on it, and he did. I said, beat that sumbitch up, and he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I sometimes get a little too clinical with my.
Look at this one. Look at how big that thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you want to know something funny, Jason?
That's so mean.
No, I know. That's the first time I ever saw you. Is when that was you? Yeah. That's the first time I ever saw Jason.
Creeper hiding behind it. That was 55 pounds of Ren shape. That thing was.
He's saying right there, I build cool shit.
That was me saying, take the picture. This is killing my arms, probably.
Man, these are brief stories, but I love them, Jason. I don't know that a lot of people have seen a lot of that stuff. And holy shit, that Blade Runner piece that you did. I know that there's a really nice video that Savage did on you.
Yeah.
About that piece right there.
Yeah, that was this is what would happen if a Christmas tree and a football had a baby. Yeah,
was that probably the most what can I say, the most difficult model that you've ever made?
Oh man, that is an excellent question. It's up there at the time. Certainly, this was 2012. Amazingly, like I did not think I could pull it off. What's crazy? I take this to Wonderfest. It's just sitting, like it fills the entire back of my Outback trunk. Right? I mean, it's just hovering. Like if you were behind me in traffic, it was perfectly framed in the back window of my Subaru. Like just height wise, it worked perfectly. I mean, I weighed down the base, so it wasn't going to go anywhere, but it just sort of hovered like the whole trip. And it's 10 hours from Baltimore to Louisville. And I swear to you, the entire state of West Virginia was getting resurfaced at the time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like
kind of like on the Star Destroyer, same shit.
Hours. It was grooved road. So I'm driving, like your hands are vibrating and the car's vibrating. And all I see in my head the whole time is all of the like delicate electronics working their way loose somehow. You know, like I was like, oh shit, this is so bad. Yeah. And then I get to the hotel, and I usually put models on. I usually clear off that desk that's next to the TV, and I put models on it. For whatever reason, I didn't. I put my suitcase on that desk, and I put this model on that little freestanding table that's always by the window or whatever. And like 30 minutes after checking in, that desk collapsed and my suitcase crashed to the ground. And like apparently the anchor had given way in the wall or whatever. And I was like, holy shit, it would have trashed the blimp. Damn. So like it was a miracle that thing got there in full, intact, and that it fired up correctly and made it all the way home, like very robust. I was very relieved.
It's so, I mean, the attention to detail, the way the screens work, just like the accurate, like right out of the film, that was just, man, I would absolutely love to have this piece in my collection, man.
I have, yeah, I hate saying this to you because like then you're going to be like, hey, let's do this. I still have a set of parts. I could make one mo,
Jeez.
But see, like now with the 3D stuff and the fact that we could FDM the body, I might want to go full scale, 4 feet. This was half scale. And I'm like, you know what the big problem is? And every once in a while I'll investigate it because I'm like, I could do a full scale one. It's not that hard. It wouldn't be any more work. It would actually be easier because your hands could get in there a little better with all that crap. Because you just make it hollow, The big problem would be finding the 4:3 ratio screen in the right size. Because every once in a while I'll go looking for LCD screens and they're all wide or not that correct size. I lucked out, I think, hitting technology at the right moment with that kind of stuff.
That's really cool. Hey, Jason, did you see Arthur's comment? Hey, Arthur, first off, welcome to Collection Wars. Thanks for your Saturday night.
Right on. From Patrick? That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Awesome land speeder. I picked up the model that they used in the film.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Damn right, that's amazing. That's crazy cool.
Here's something I don't think I say online. I made a Hades tower from Blade Runner just because I wanted to make something weird and fun. So it's like, it's supposed to be a refinery tower from the movie.
That's cool.
I actually took this to, they had a crew reunion out in LA. And I always wonder why this is happening. This is insane. But they invited me, or I got an invite. So I was at this party with like all the VFX guys, like, talking shop. And I brought this because I thought it would be, kind of fun. Like I thought like centerpiece on the chip and dip table, like just sort of in the background. And they put it on the table with like some of the real stuff. And I was like, oh shit. People kept thinking it was from the movie. I was really like I was very, very touched. And I'd be like, oh no, I made that. I'm just a dude.
Hey, so did you get invited and then make that and take it, or they saw that? How did that work out?
I was making it, and then I got the invite, and I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing with this model now. Like, maybe I hadn't finished it, and it caused me to. I can't remember, But I wanted a fireball, and somebody gave me the asset from the shuttle exploding on Scarif in Rogue One. So this is a Rogue One fireball element that I printed in clear resin.
That's very cool.
A little bit
Hey,
of Star
Arthur,
Wars.
did you read Arthur's next comment? I don't know if it's something that you could lead him in the right direction.
He's front bubble windshield. If it's the right dimension, I'll ask the guy if he still has the buck. He could probably run another one off.
Yeah, that's
I don't
amazing.
Arthur
is saying that he has the original piece, so
yeah,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
I would love to. Hey, Arthur, I would love if you could message me, man. I would absolutely love to talk to you about that for sure on the side, for sure.
Bondi made a cup noodle.
Yeah, that's really cool, Jason. How you did that.
The second I saw that model kit, I was like, I know what I need to do. So that's me being totally dumb and weird.
Like the Kleenex, like the Colonial Mover Kleenex.
That's awesome. Exactly. That and the dumpster from Van Nuys that's in the background of when they're blowing up the Death Star in the parking lot, you see this dumpster sitting in the background.
That's so cool.
Yeah, even the spray paint matches the photos. And so I was like, I'm going to fill it with model kit boxes and Death Star trench parts. And so they had the Empire 40th reunion with ILM last year. And I sent this to 3210 Studios. Like, apparently it got a lot of laughs. Like, it was.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's like a German Army assault gun box. There's a C-Lab box in there, right, hiding in the bottom. And then there's even beer cans.
Oh, that's awesome.
And broken X-Wing pyro parts.
Yeah, that's badass. It'd be cool if you had like the Death Star in there too. I love that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
All in 1/12 scale.
That is so crazy cool.
Yeah, somebody said, they were like, God, like that's literally like, we threw everything away. That's not that's kind of what happened. So yeah, there's the droids. So a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
I forget about that Y-Wing that you did there. That's
this one.
Yes.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this, the Sketchbook Y-Wing, my absolutely favorite thing about it is the bomb. I had that die-cast toy as a kid. I don't know if people were clued into this necessarily, but instead there's no droid, but I made a little chrome dome. And then on the bottom, there's a little bright red bomb. And that's totally the die-cast toy homage.
That thing
I had this die-cast toy of the real X-Wing. I had the die-cast of it. And I just love that little button, that metal button that dropped the bomb.
Oh, that's badass, the helmet.
This was one of the first things I modeled really like all, like by myself kind of. I did get a little bit of help at the very beginning in Rhino. And this model was made just as things were really clicking with my workflow and stuff. And this really taught me a lot about what these machines can do in the workflow. Yeah, there's the bomb.
When you say the workflow, what do you mean?
Just how I approach a build now.
Okay.
Like if I made this now, I would probably do a lot of things differently, but it really was a great learning experience. And like I left this all blank. So these are all kit parts, but a couple of that might be kit parts, but all this stuff, that's all printed resin. Like that was me sort of flexing my like brain with like, I could, if I model these wires and all this detail, then it'll print like, sort of a Shinano-esque detail part kind of thing. It was like, this works. This
the colors are beautiful. Hey, so to the viewers out there, I don't know that a lot of you guys know this, but I believe it was the last Wonderfest when I was lucky enough to meet Jason for the first time in person.
2019, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, so a lot of like this certain group, Jason and some friends they came up with this task of the sketchbook prints of these different ships. And I don't know if y'all drew a hat or how y'all drew out of a hat or.
No, everybody just kind of picked the one they liked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was really cool. So everybody took the sketchbook. Can you kind of explain how that was? It was like sketchbook prints.
Yeah. Anything that was not a model that was a concept art sketch, either from Joe Johnson or I think it was did we limit it to Joe Johnson? We try to have these challenges like just a group build kind of fun thing. And so I did this, TIE Fighter and the Y-Wing. I wonder if I could dig up pictures of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, let me stop sharing.
The Snowspeeder.
Do a
The
little
Snowspeeder was really, really cool.
Yeah, hang on. I'm probably just going to go to Facebook to find that photo because it's easier.
So nobody's nothing like that going this year, huh? With everybody.
I feel like this is a reset year.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had all these Empire Strikes Back centric models ready to go, and then COVID happens or in the works. So the Empire 40th is pushed back 2 years now, theoretically. I got Charlie Bailey to agree to come to Wonderfest for 2020, and then it didn't happen. So that kind of sucks. But
Who's that?
He's a model maker at ILM that worked on Empire and Jedi.
Okay.
He would have been a really cool. He's like an awesome guy. It would have been a really cool talk, I think.
It was cool to meet Bill George, and he was one of the younger ones there. Yeah. Who's scheduled to be there? Is there anybody this year that's going to be there?
This year is very well. Bill's coming just for
hang out.
Yeah, but I think it's very Star Trek heavy this year, which is fine because it's 1982.
Yeah, Joseph is going to be happy with that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. It's so funny. I'm just sharing Facebook. God, my life. But this answers your question. So here we go. All right. So yeah, October 2018, we start talking about the Star Wars Sketchbook 2019 hashtag, and so we would add a photo of something, and people started nobody took that one. Eric Chu took this Jabba sketch, and he made a sculpt of that was amazing. Lee Stringer took this. I don't know if Lee finished.
Oh, is that a toy? Was that from the Kenner toy?
This?
Yeah, it kind of looks like the Kenner, the Bosk, the orange one, kind of.
Oh, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. This. Sorry, this was not part of it. This was.
What the hell is that?
This is from the Joe. You can see it right there. The Joe Johnson sketch of the 3-engine blockade runner that my buddy Dave Goldberg made. This is Dave Goldberg. He's the guy that did that open source Y-Wing that everybody's been able to make dreams come true with. He's a super
very cool. I've seen him before.
Yeah, nobody claimed that one.
Wow, that's one of the cloud car, right?
Yeah, Bill George took this and he made the sail barge, and that model is of course it's gorgeous.
Okay, whoa. That for coming up now?
No. This was there in 2019.
I missed that.
There might be a picture of it down the line here. Okay. Goodson took this, but he got busy with work and couldn't finish. Devin showed up with this.
I don't remember that. Okay, I do remember the shuttle.
Yeah, Blappy didn't make it to the show. Rob Merrill knocked this out of the park. Nobody took that. Darren, I can't remember. Did he finish this?
That is so cool. What a
Sabian,
that's badass, dude.
Yeah, Sabian did this, and he brought it. Nobody took the little gnome Yoda. How funny!
Oh man, that's really cool.
Dave Conover did that. Yeah, this was at the show. This was not at the show. I don't know if that was. God, it all starts blending after a while. It's so weird.
I'll tell you what, man. I
made that after the fact. Funny enough.
Yeah, you did.
And then here you go. I made that just recently. God,
that's so cool though that you guys collaborated like that, and all the group that did that, man. It was a lot of work, but it was gratifying. Yeah, I don't blame anybody for not taking that very last one. Holy shit.
Yeah, Michael Fittenmeyer did that from
nice.
the Jabba sketch. Yeah, so Darren did finish that.
Jeez.
Yeah, some people couldn't make the show. Yeah, there we go. There it is.
Holy cow, dude!
Look at that.
I do remember seeing that actually.
And he ended up putting people on it. I don't know if he's got shots of the people, but this was he's a genius. So he engineered this all. He flew with this, so this all came apart and nested, and he could fly, and take it on the plane, which is so great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I know that you guys, y'all want to show off your stuff. That's the fun thing. You guys get together and I know Mike. Mike Salzo deserves so much, Jason, as you know. I know you're a great friend of his.
I try to toot his horn as much as possible. He's very, very humble.
Yeah, he is. And one of these days, guys, we'll have that guy on here. But I will tell you though that
he's my get. Yeah, I want to get him like into the like. I'm like, do you want to talk about the RPF? And he's like, other people can talk. It's fine. I'm like,
yeah. And so listen, I would really truly love Jason, and I want you to know that I did talk to Mike about it briefly. But this year Mike's going to show up to Wonderfest, and all his friends like you guys are going to have all these badass, crazy, sketched out models that y'all built from scratch, and then Mike's going to be showing up empty handed, and yet he doesn't. We all tell him that, hey, it doesn't matter just as long as you show up.
I just want to see him. Like
Dude,
I go for the people.
I would love.
We've talked about this, and I'm like, you made an 8-foot Star Destroyer. You don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Exactly my point. So it's like, I just wish that I could show up with that 8-foot Star Destroyer just to.
That would be bananas. Yeah.
Yeah. I just
maybe in a couple of years.
He's just like, I told him, I said, Mike, I would really like to do that for you. And he was just like, I just don't want to get broke. And I mean, it's his baby, you know what I mean? So. Yeah. But that poor guy, man, I mean, we haven't discussed it, but he went in a major, he was bummed out after I left with his baby, man.
We had talked about that a lot. I talk to him all the time. I call him all the time. Especially during the quarantine, I was like, I need to make sure that like I keep touch with humans,
yes.
So that was good. And we were chatting about the Star Destroyer a lot, and he and I both like to worry unnecessarily about what our feelings are going to be. Like when like we both know this about ourselves and each other, and we laugh about it. Like when you finish a model, you're happy and whatever, but then you get like there's a depression that hits afterwards.
Yeah,
for like a day or a week or whatever. And I don't know if it's like tied to the scale of the model, but he's like, when I finish the Star Destroyer, like what do I do next? He's like, how do I top it? Holy shit, I know I'm gonna have like a and like my wife like she doesn't tease me about it, but she like just sort of she's like, are you like again, like are you this about yourself, like snap out of it, because I'll finish something and then I just walk around like it's done, because for me and Mike, and I know a lot of other people are like this, we've chatted about this, it's the build. Like I live for the making of the thing, which is why I can let them leave the nest.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing. Not to cut you off, but how you like build something like this and let it go. But good look,
So he was like, what do I do when I'm done? And I'm like, do whatever. It was like the I had said, and hoping that I listened to my own perspective on this the next time this happens. It was like, never try to top yourself, because that is a trap that you'll fall into. And like, how do you follow up an 8-foot Star Destroyer?
Yeah.
I was joking. I was like, go small, like flip the script.
Yeah. I felt bad. I was like, man, Mike, you okay? And he's like, yeah, I mean, he knocked out some crazy shit. I mean, he got the base star done.
Yeah.
I mean,
killed himself.
He knocked it. I mean, it was crazy. And I appreciate all your collaboration, helping out with him on that too. But I'll tell you, it's just like, he's finally, I think he's just now settled in, he's back on.
I believe it would take that long. Yeah. And like I had said to my wife, I was like, and then probably Mike also was like, I realize now when I finish something, I know I'm going to be like modeling for feel a crushing ennui for a day or two. And now I know how to pull out of it as fast as possible. I'll clean my shop. Yeah. And Sean Sides is amazing at building one thing and starting with this model and finishing it. I've got like 15 different things going on at the same time.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Try to constrict it, but like, and that also creates the illusion that I make like amazing amounts of stuff, because sometimes they all kind of finish at the same time. Like I've also joked that like every once in a while, like I'll have like 5 or 6 different bourbons in play, and it'll every once in a while hit in a week where they all kind of empty at the same time. Like I'm not like hitting them all mathematically or whatever, but it just so happens that like, in 1 week I'll get 2 or 3 empties, and then I'm like, the recycling people must think I'm insane, because there's only like 2 ounces left in the mall. So in a week, that'll go. But then I'm like, it looks like I've got a problem. Like if you look at that 1 week's dump, so like I know that like when I finish everything, like I'm gonna look like a madman at Wonderfest because I'm gonna have like a
lot of shit. You
but
got
that's
a lot of stuff.
3 years worth of stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Some of those things were started in like 2018 and just sort of cooled, and I was like, I guess I'll finish it. Like
you're definitely going to be the overachiever of Wonderfest. But holy shit, the models. Hey, but honestly, Jason, I mean, there's some stuff that you haven't shown. I know that they're going to be like some surprise things, and I remember one of them that you showed me, and it's just the details of what goes into each and every model that you make is just, it's really, really cool.
I try to push it. I try to like Mike with the Star Destroyer. It's like you wanna get better. You want to do something bigger, grander, or just different, new, better, whatever. The concept models I know are definitely from that desire. Like I want
that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's a new area to explore, and you get to be creative, and it's like it's so great. Yeah.
It's really awesome to be able to be a part of like the Cantwell Sandcrawler. I mean, you blew my head off when you showed me the picture. I didn't even know you had it. I was like, what the hell? And then to be able to have the Cantwell family on our show and talking to models, it's just awesome, And
when he came to Wonderfest, and I had for years, we all were like, what happened to that guy? He was off the radar. And then he shows up out of the blue. Jason DeBoard found him or whatever. I knew he lived in Colorado Springs, and it's so funny. I looked up Colin Cantwell in the phone book or whatever and called and left a message. And I think I think it was Sierra on the answering machine, if I remember correctly. And I was like, hi, my name is Jason Eaton. My phone number is this. I am a Star Wars model fan and builder, and we are a little crack team are researching all the models you made back in the day. I'd love to talk to you about it. If you want to see what we're doing, you might get a kick out of it. Have a great day. And another couple of years went by before he showed up publicly, but I'm like, I wonder if I got them. And I asked her, and she couldn't remember. I was like, maybe not. But I was like, the worst case scenario is that some other Colin Cantwell's like, the hell's going on my phone? I have no filter sometimes, or like sense of decorum. So sometimes I'll just walk up to the famous person and be like, hey, what's up? Sometimes it really pays off. And other times I'm like, I probably overstepped. Oops. Whatever.
Well, look at the friendships now, you know what I mean? And she's respects the hell out of you. And what's really, really cool is when she tells me that Colin loved your model.
That was so amazing to show him that model, and he sat there and just like looked at it, and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, wow. And we were laughing. It's like, did you ever think that like 47 years later or whatever it was, that you'd be sitting there looking at a faithful-ish, as best we could. That's pretty. We did a good job. Replica of the Skyhopper, and he was just like, these guys are bananas. But then he like told all these insane anecdotes and stories about the creative process and filled in blanks, that we were like, oh, okay, like things that he thought. Like the biggest for me was the Cantwell. I'll pull this, share one more thing. And I'm losing steam, man.
No worries. No problem.
Sorry.
I knew I'd be able to rob you an extra hour. I just don't remember I said that.
I know. My friend Brian was like, are you going to be on live in an hour or whatever? And I was like, yeah. He's like, it's going to be longer than an hour. I'm like, shut up.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
So we were talking. I hadn't even started this yet. And again, not my IDs. Craig and Jeff and Ed ID'd this sucker. I did do all the legwork on patterning and stuff, and that's not 3D. It's all cut styrene and acrylic. So it's a scratch build. It's pretty gratifying. But so he talks about this, and he's like, I was influenced by like a NASA vehicle, but I also was influenced by he said, I saw it as a creature that hovered over the sands and were pulled by these 3 tractor things, that ate the sand. And this was like a creature worshipped as a god by the Jawas, and it was a cyclops, and it had one eye, and it was just this insanely richly detailed backstory that he had given this thing. I painted this more realistically than his.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know this, but this is a chute that opens up, and it's got these little teeth, these little combs, that swivels down. Unless you're, I have been very lucky over the years to sometimes get an audience with these things, and I have no problem like leaning in and going like, that swivels down, let's take a look, kind of thing. Or somebody else will do it. I'm not overstepping when it comes to that stuff, but I also want to solve the mysteries kind of thing. But he put that in the model because in the original draft that he had been given of the screenplay, the heroes were swallowed by the sandcrawler and vacuumed up into a garbage masher.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you kidding me? And he's like,
that's
no.
fantastic.
Yeah. And he said, and then George changed it to the Death Star, and that idea was dropped. And I'm like, holy crap. However, and this design was changed. However, he said, I want to believe this is true. I don't know why it wouldn't be, but he said Lucas really liked this, and that this head informed the Sand People,
the Tusken Raiders.
The Tusken Raiders, yeah. And I'm like, even if it's not true, it's just such a cool little.
And where was the pill bottle?
In the eye.
That's what I thought.
If you did I use a real pill bottle? I think I found.
Did. You told me.
Yeah, I think it was like 2004. I was at a place called Zern's in Pennsylvania. That's like
I told that story to Sierra.
Yeah, like an old school swap. A bunch of outbuildings. You can find crazy shit. And there was a bin of just tons of pill bottles, and I wasn't even researching studio scale stuff back then, but I was like, I think these are on the Star Wars concept models. And they were I bought a bag of 50 of them for $2 or something.
Yeah. I
was like, whatever. If I'm wrong, I'll throw them away. And then they went into storage. And then years later, I pulled one out and looked at it. And then I showed a buddy, and he's like, that's the 5-dram bottle from the 70s. How? And I'm like, I got a whole stack of them. Yeah. So I lucked out.
Those are cool. I love those freaking stories, man. That's really cool.
But if you shine a light in that hole, you'll see the orange color of the bottle. I think. I don't think I might have painted it, but I don't think I did. On the original, it's raw. If you look at the Cantwell X-Wing, there's a photo of it from the back, and he painted the outsides white, but the inside is still raw pill bottle. So it's like a sort of amber color.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you about the X-Wing if that's going to be in the works.
It is. It'll probably next year, but it'll be the one that comes after the Y-Wing. What happens is, like with building ragtag ships, if you build a Galactica, you've got all the leftover material to build all the ragtags. So why not? And with the Cantwell stuff, you buy a bunch of weird shit that doesn't necessarily cross over with the ILM donors, but now you've got this stack of stuff, and you're like, oh, I could also build this. I bought that Jeb Allen Praying Mantis for that oil filter on the Skyhopper. That body is the X-Wing. So I'm like, why not do the X-Wing? I've got it. And before I build it, why not have the part mold and casted?
That would be cool, that green and stuff. I can't wait. We'll talk about all that for sure.
Yeah, that's that decal's from the Cosmic Charger. See, I don't remember IDs when somebody asks me, but if we're just chatting about something, I'll pull out the Cosmic Charger. That's useless information.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Maybe I just have to be really tired, and then I remember this information.
That's funny. So look, I know we're going to wrap soon here, Jason, but I want to ask you a couple things real quick. Number one, and I know it's hard. I know you've done stuff for Lucasfilm. You recently did that really badass build for that ship, and no telling. We were talking earlier about there's no telling where it's at right now. But if you had to, and I know this is hard because people even as a collector asking what my favorite studio model is, but what is to date would you think is the best studio model or model that you've built to date?
Good God. I'm gonna probably say the X-Wing for satisfaction because it pulled off what I didn't think could ever be pulled off, which is getting the dimensions right on something that we thought was lost to the sands of time kind of thing.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but just going to cut you off real quick. I do remember, Jason, when we were at Wonderfest several years back, and you were in that. Bill George was in there, and you had the big screen in there, and you were discussing exactly what you have now put together. Do you remember that? Do you remember?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I say that about like we want to do the TIE Fighter, I want to do the Y-Wing, and without going into specifics, those are going to get done, and they're going to be the right size and the right shapes because of things that have happened and parts that have fallen into laps or whatever. So
you're doing this for you, not anybody else, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, I want to preserve the data. It's not going to be a kit. And a couple different reasons. One, because again, the amount of time and effort that everybody puts into this can't be compensated, and I don't want to be crass about it and like churn out kits. But also, we're in an era where everybody's now expecting a file to be $40. And I'm like that, and I'm like, well, if you guys are happy with that, then you don't need, like, where's the line between spending $50 to get a Y-Wing STL set of parts or whatever, or even buying like a grown set of parts, because guys are doing that now, which is amazing. Where's the demarcation between doing that and being happy, and then expecting it to be perfect and accurate? Like the to get it that last 5% is so kind of dumb for most people, and I recognize that. Like, no, you could show, if I took a fan built Y-Wing and like a real Y-Wing to work and put them on my desk, nobody would know the difference.
Right.
Care.
Right.
In fact, a real quick anecdote: I had a studio scale Y-Wing, and it was a John Curia, Cell, Jamie, Steve Nyson like model, which is gorgeous and amazing. And I built it and painted it, and I had it like hanging off of a Panavice mount on my wall above my desk. And the guy in the office over had a Lego Star Destroyer, which was, about that big. And somebody came in and they were like, "Oh, that's cool. Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "Oh, I made it." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I made it." He's like, "How?" I was like, "Well, a bunch of guys got together, figured out what the original parts were. Like, that's a Saturn V, that's a da-da-da-da-da. And we, they made a pattern, they recombined everything, and then molded and cast that. And I got a set of parts and cleaned it up and painted it and built it and painted it." And he was like, "Huh, neat." And then he goes over and I hear, "Oh my God, did you do that?" And he like went bananas for the Lego thing. And I was just like, "I'm done." Like, I'm like, why am I even bothering? Like,
you're getting all specific
and shit. He teased me incessantly for that. He's like, "I built that Lego thing with my son. What's your deal?" Like, kind of like, shut up. But like, it reminded me of the guy that spends like $5,000 to make the perfect replica suit for a Halloween costume contest, and then like the cute person in like the $5 whatever or the real clever hot dog costume wins, and the guy's like, "What am I even bothering for?" And I'm like, it's not your crowd, dude. So like, making these things, like when somebody asks me for them, I'm like, I know we all want it, but like, I can't release it, and it's also kind of not going to matter. Like, once it's out there, that supersedes everything, I would imagine. Like, if there was a V6 X-Wing that was like markedly more accurate than the V5, somebody would recast it, and then I would feel like I screwed my buddies that worked so hard on that. So I'm like, I can't let it out of my hands. I could build and paint one and let it out of my hands. And
all of the viewers are like, V5, V6, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, just different.
I mean, guys,
the fifth version of the X-Wing was where it ended. We had to call him something.
Yeah, Jason's super cool, but he's got a problem. We're here to.
I'm not speaking. Am I speaking in tongues yet? Yeah. So like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, if somebody's really that far down the rabbit hole, they're understanding the position that we're in anyway.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter.
So. Yeah, maybe one day in this world of studio modeling, everyone will be able to get along, right?
That'd be nice. Yeah. I mean, like, and some people are in it for the love, and some people are in it for the craft, and some people are in it for a combination. Some people are in it just for the money.
Yeah.
Like anything, you know, like you get
right.
it. Some people like have fun, and some people get really bent out of shape about stuff, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like I have changed and grown certainly over the years, and I'm just like, I'm kind of like doing my own thing in the corner now.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Well, listen, I know, want to be respectful, and I knew I'd get you for 2.
Yeah, it's Sunday now, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna be.
I know, dude.
I'm gonna be in the woods hiking in about 8 or 9 hours. Probably.
Yeah. But hey, Jason, you know, it's really cool. I'm really glad that you were able to take the time to be on the show and
man, thank you for
talk models.
Super fun.
There's quite.
If I was irresponsible, I would, with my time, I would probably talk another hour. But if we do these earlier, I could talk more.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
give the shit about what I have to say, but
yeah, definitely, man. But I love our talks, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Wonderfest, and are you going to be able to? Okay, can you exit us out of here? And if not, you can get off, and I'll let Gabe know.
I don't know. I've got a. Here's a little peek behind the curtain, everybody. I've got to leave studio. That's all I've got.
Okay, yeah, I do too. That's what I have too. But I just want to make sure. But first off, I just want to say, in case I disconnect everybody out there, Jason, you're awesome.
Oh, yeah. I got you, man.
To the viewers, always, man. Listen, you know, it's Saturday. You guys are spending your time with us, and it's really appreciated. So you know what.
And happy birthday to Gabe.
Yes, and very happy birthday to Gabe and our friend Manny also. So, listen, man, Jason, go get some rest, my brother, and we'll be talking definitely soon enough. Okay, man.
Oh, thank you for having me, and I will see you in the real world in a couple months.
Yeah, that sounds really good, man. Wow. Thanks so much, Jason.
Okay, bye.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Leave. Here we go. I'm gonna click it.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm gonna let Gabe know we're getting ready to end this now, but I just wanted to just say hey to everybody. And listen, Arthur, man, guy, I really would love to talk to you and hear the story about you know, how you came across that piece. I'm very interested to know that. Also, if you guys hopped on a little bit later, Gabe and I have a really, really awesome guest that we're going to have coming on within the next week. And he was actually cast when he was 5 years old to be a Jawa in Star Wars: A New Hope, which is really, really cool. So I'm really looking forward to hearing his story. I talked to him briefly yesterday, and he's 50 years old now, but man, what a great story. I'd love to share it with you guys right now. Yeah, Michael, thanks so much, man. Have a great night. But yeah, it's going to be really, really good conversation. You guys know I love Jawas, you know, go figure. It's actually, it's probably besides Luke Skywalker, it's my favorite character. So, anyways, yeah. So look, guys, I'm going to tell Gabe right now, hang on one second here. Be nice if Gabe could jump on. All right, guys. Anybody have any questions for me? Hey, Robin, I want to say it was nice talking to you on Facebook the other night. Thanks for joining us tonight on Collection Wars. Matt's Collection, what's up, buddy? No, he wasn't the tall Jawa. And it's funny, too, because I was watching Star Wars today, and I hope I don't get if I get disconnected, I'll see you guys next Saturday. But real quick, when I was talking to him, New Hope was on, and I sent him a picture of a still of the film I was watching, and he said this was me, and it was really cool seeing that. And then I was asking him, hey, do you still have your Jawa? Oh, great, we're going to get some Rated X stuff again. That's awesome. So how do you get the tiles? I'll talk to you about that, Lee. I already told you that. Also, these are some Jason Eaton pieces right here. This is the newest piece. He did a very, very small piece. And this one right here is the Death Star crane from A New Hope. And I've got a couple of these. Actually, I've had it for a couple of years. Mike Salzo built this. These sit in my 16-foot Death Star trench. Not to scale, but it looks really, really cool. So, good night, everybody. Getting ready to hang up. So,
you're all clear.